Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another Monday Metalcore video. Today we got something different. Today we are doing a tier list, and I got my friend Mike here from Philly local bands, Fever Dreams, and A Sky So Black. What is up, Mike?
What's going on, man? How's things?
Everything is good. We had some crazy songs that dropped this year, uh, the year 2020. And what was your favorite so far?
Honestly, I want to save it because it's in this list.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's
When
just
we'll
jump
we'll
right
get
into
there.
this.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So the first band that we have in this list is Alpha Wolf, A Quiet Place to Die. What did you think of this?
Okay, this record for me is definitely high B, and the only reason I say this is because I was a very big Alpha Wolf fan back in like 2017-ish, and I think it's just because the only reason I could say this is because I don't think I gave this record enough attention. It wasn't really grabby for me, but it's not a bad record in the slightest.
Yeah, for me, it definitely followed their typical the I'll call it the Australian graph of where bands from there just get fucking good.
Yeah, man.
It's so
And
hard to
like
explain.
I think the driving force of this band too is their fucking monster vocalist.
Oh, dude's fucking insane, man.
He's got a crazy voice.
What's funny is that you can't even say that he carried the album because
Yeah.
they're all just so talented.
Yeah, they're very good musicians. That's to say the least.
Yeah, for me, I think they definitely flexed with this album a little bit with some of their songs like Akudama and all that. But I think to start it off, I think a really good spot to place them would definitely be B.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot.
Yeah. Um, I feel like it did improve um over the years on their other albums,
Oh
but I
yeah,
think a solid place to start
absolutely.
is B, potential A, very high
Hmm.
B.
Yeah.
All right, so the next band that we have in this list is August Burns Red, Guardians. What do you think about that?
This this is it's a tough one for me because like August Burns Red is one of the one of the greats when it comes to metalcore. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, for sure.
they've they've always been exceeding the boundaries, especially when it comes to guitar work. Fantastic guitar work from this band.
Yeah, what's
Um,
his name? JB, and you got Brent.
mhm,
These guys are crazy,
Abs
man.
crazy musicians. Even Dustin, their bassist, man, and their Dustin has some incredible screams
Oh yeah,
too. Not to not even to
he's
get
got a
into
lot of
that,
bass
but
time on this album too.
mhm. Uh, it pains me to do this, but I think I have to put this like one step above Alpha Wolf in B category again, purely for I really want them to do something so crazy. Uh, because for me at least, like it feels like a lot like ever since like their second or third record, it feels like I've been listening to not the same record, but it doesn't look like it doesn't really offer much change from previous records, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it's evolving, and that's not exactly a bad thing. But the
Absolutely
the
not. Yeah.
metalcore fan base is so polarized on what's good change and what doesn't need to change.
Yeah.
And if they keep doing the same style, uh, I don't think there's going to be growth. But I definitely like the consistency. So it's a very tough
Absolutely.
one. I'd put that in a lower B than Alpha Wolf.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like, as I said, the Australian graph, man. They just
Yeah.
grow, they get better. I love August Burns Red, one of my favorite bands all time. But as you said, they need more flash to them. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I like that they're going over their old albums like Leveler.
Oh, not
Uh,
to mention, dude, that even their live stream sets are fucking phenomenal. The amount of effort that looks like it goes into those things, oh my God.
yeah, maybe I'll put them higher later on in this list, but I think right now, sitting at a comfortable B
Yeah.
is good for them. All right, Mike, take it away. I know you love this next band. What do you think?
Yeah. Post-Human Survival by Bring Me the Horizon. So I'm gonna start by saying that I'm putting this in A tier. Um, just for just because getting to see the evolution of this band over the years. has been incredible. It's so insane to see them going from their deathcore, like death metal roots
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to this, which is a complete curveball from that record.
Oh, totally.
And it's so insane to me that they've managed to not only keep but grow their fan base, changing stylistically so much.
Which is insane.
It speaks for itself. Like, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm a fan of the new Bring Me the Horizon, because for me it's not my thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I can't deny how good it is still.
For sure.
It's insane, and especially with the features that they have on this new record,
Oh,
it
who'd they
takes it
have
even a
on there? Like Baby Metal?
Baby Metal was definitely one of them.
Mm,
I forget the names of the other ones off the top of my head, but it's so cool to me that they're able to do something like that. Like it's like that's a flex having
it,
Baby Metal on your
it
album, to
Bring
be
Me to the
honest.
Horizon to really rode the roller coaster of genre shifts and
Absolutely.
just different takes, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, no, I didn't. I listened to this album not too long ago, and I like that Ali went back to his screaming roots.
hmm
It was definitely really good to hear that, but I don't know if it could surpass Alpha Wolf or August Burns Red. So for me, I'm putting it in B tier still. It might change, but I'll
hmm
put it behind the August Burns Red for now.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I just the only reason I'm putting it A is just because
It's just so unique.
it's such a unique thing to see a band that started off the way they did turn into this and still manage to write good songs and keep things fresh. You know what I mean? Like they've never
For
done
sure.
something like for the time period of when all their albums came out, they were doing something new. And if it wasn't new, it was a cool spin on the old stuff that has been around.
And you know what? Everyone copied them after it.
That you're not lying.
They're not
Yeah.
a genre leader and so big in popularity for no reason.
Yeah.
All right, let's skip to the next one in the list. This next one is Bury Tomorrow Cannibal.
Yeah,
What do you
so
think about it?
this one was when we were talking about this idea for this video before. This is one of the records that I actually have not listened to, and I wanted to hear what you'd have to say about it because I feel like when it comes to your music taste and my music taste when it comes to this genre, it's we have very differing opinions, but we have very strong uh what's the word? Very strong counters to each other where we're like, you know what, you're right
Mm-hmm.
when we bring things up about something. So like I honestly wanted to hear what you have to say about what you have to say about this record. My apologies on that.
As far as Bury Tomorrow goes, I think this is probably their best record yet.
Really.
Now, it's so hard to think of where this sits in here. This is a very tough one, um, just considering what we got in here. But they go off. I think it's their heaviest one as well.
You
Uh,
think so?
yeah, there's a lot of bangers on it,
Now you're making me want to listen to it. I'm gonna have to do that tonight.
dude. You have to.
Yeah,
But
this one,
I think a
yeah.
good place to put this is probably above August Burns Red, but maybe not above Alpha Wolf.
Okay.
I think
I'm
that's a very
gonna
comfortable spot for it.
I think I'm gonna do the same thing, but mix what I said because we have August Burns Red and Alpha Wolf in the same category, but we have them on opposite sides. I'm gonna do the same thing you did. I'm gonna put it right in
Mm-hmm.
the middle,
For sure.
just because I trust your opinion on this one, even though I
This
haven't
is
listened to it.
definitely an album you got to check out. I was
All
listening to
right,
this at
yeah,
work the other day. Dude, it just gets you hype. There is
yeah.
some the pacing on the album is awesome. Everything about it, just bangers, unique songs. It's really good.
Mhm.
So the next one that we got in here is Code Orange, Underneath. Have you heard this one yet?
This one, and I hate to say it because I was a big Code fan.
Back in the day.
I've liked Code Orange since like I Am King, I think is the name of the record. I believe that's the name of the record. Let me actually, I'm gonna check myself on that real quick because
All
I
right.
have my Spotify pulled up.
While you look at
It is,
that,
it is I Am King. It is. So I've been a fan of them since like around that time period. It was before Forever, and I was even a fan of Code Orange Kids, which was like their thing before Code Orange.
right?
And honestly, like it's not that it's a bad record. Uh, it's for me, it just doesn't match the energy that Forever and I Am King had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's upsetting, and like I hate I hate to put it here because I respect this band a lot, but I have to put this in D, I think.
Yeah, when I listened to it the other day, um, what I noticed is that the album starts off really strong, um, right until they get up to "Swallowing the Rabbit Hole," which is a phenomenal song. Even if
Yeah.
you don't like Code Orange, that is a song that you have to check out.
Hmm.
But everything after that really just fell off for me, and I think I would need to put it in a high D. But
Okay.
knowing some of the other albums on here, um, this might be the lowest.
Hmm.
Which sucks to say because I did appreciate their older music, although I wasn't that much into it. But just for being on this list, I respect them for getting there.
Hmm. I definitely can agree with that.
All right, this next one is actually a favorite of mine, so I might be a little biased. But this is Currents, The Way It Ends, and this album for me was phenomenal. There's so many highlight riffs that you could put in to a compilation of, whoa, you gotta check this shit out. The vocalist, he just flexes the whole time on the album.
Hmm.
For me, just the pacing of the album, the heaviness of it, and everything, I would put it in a low A.
I honestly think I'd have to put this high B. And the only reason I say that is because this is another like I shouldn't be biased when I'm making this list at all, but I've
Mm-hmm.
never been big on Currents. I think the only thing that's ever really attracted me to that band is the guitar work. They're another band with phenomenal
The
guitarists.
guitar work, man, the guitar work is so
Yeah.
good.
They're and for me, that's the only thing that catches me about this band, like what like
That's a
when it
damn
comes
shame, dude.
when it yeah, I know. It is because I really want to like this band, but I just can't. And for me, when we're going through this list, we're gonna get there very soon. Uh S tier albums for me are
Oh,
full
hold it.
bands, are full band engagements where like when I'm listening to that record, everybody in the
Everyone's
band is
popping off.
snapping. They're
Yep,
snapping, all of them. So like for me, and since I'm only a fan of the guitar work, I have to put this high B.
that's
Like
totally understandable.
I think that's it really. It sucks that I have to put that there, but that's where I'm going.
It's all right. All right, the next band that we have is Every Time I Die, and this is a two-part album, two songs. They dropped two of them. We threw it in this list here because it is recognized as an album, and that is A Colossal Wreck and Desperate Pleasures. Where would you put this, Mike?
Okay. I said we were gonna get to our S's very soon, and it's hard. Like it's you should never put a two track on a list of albums in S tier in my opinion, just because it's two songs compared to what somewhere between like 10 and 15 depending on the band.
Right.
But I've been a fan of Every Time I Die for a long time, and every time they put out a single, I've noticed this. They never put out their strongest songs or song from the record.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I listen to a new single from this band, it is fucking spectacular.
I
It
totally
is
agree.
it is without a doubt, they're without a doubt like they're not as popular, I'd say, as a lot of other metalcore bands, but they should be. I don't understand why
I mean,
people
they got
don't
their
like this
cult.
band. They do, and it's a big cult. Don't get me wrong, it's a big cult. A lot of people like this band, but I think they deserve much more attention.
For sure.
And like I said, every time they put out a single, it is never the strongest song on the record, but god damn are they always bangers no matter what. So this
Hmm.
is I have to put this S tier. This is my first S on the list.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I would put that right up at an A, right behind Currents, just because we didn't get to hear the full extent of what they have to offer. Two songs
That is
compared to
fair.
a whole album.
That is absolutely fair.
Get Here's the thing: both the songs were awesome,
Yeah. Not even to
but
mention like what else they put out that it's not on this list, but they put out the other song AWOL,
mm-hmm.
and that was another fantastic single. That was this band never fails to amaze me,
Yeah. So
and
for me, that just slots them right at an A. You know,
yeah, I think that's very fair. It's like I think I'm a little biased here by putting it above everything on the list so far, purely because uh of my like past experience with them. They've always been
they always
insane.
deliver, always
They always do,
deliver.
and look at it. Like how I think they're I think Andy, their guitarist, he just turned
Mm-hmm.
40 and he's still like he's rocking. You know what I
Which is
mean?
insane.
Which is like but most people in this scene don't get to play with their band until they're 40. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like and they're still going,
One
and
of the greats.
I think that is something to say for it, like for itself, like spectacular.
All right. So the next one that we have in this list is Hollow Front Loose Threads. Did you listen to this one?
This is another one that I did not give time to. I wanted to hear what you had to say about this one.
Yeah, so this one actually surprised me. I listened to it not that long ago, and I've heard some of their newer singles, and this past album in 2020 went hard. I did not expect it because I was just starting to get into the band. They're one of the, new and up and coming,
Mm.
and this one went so hard. I did not expect uh, some of the screams that he put out. I did not expect some of the crazy drum and bass. The guitar work didn't astound me, but just the sheer heaviness, I think this could sit at a B.
Okay. I'm gonna follow you on that. I think would you all right now comparing to the other B's in this list, we have August Burns Red, Barry Tomorrow, Alpha Wolf, and Currents. Where would you sit this one? Like in your opinion?
In my opinion, it goes higher than Post-Human Survival, but I'm not sure if it goes above August Burns Red.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I think I
I'm
will put it
forgetting.
above August Burns Red.
I'm forgetting that our lists are completely different too. So like I what my B's are different from your B's actually. So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
follow you. I'm gonna put the records that I haven't listened to, except for the Barry Tomorrow one, because you were speaking very highly of that one.
I'm not the only one, man. Look at some of the
I'm gonna
comments on
put
those songs. I'm sure
I'm
you would have people in the comments saying that that's an A choice.
I'm gonna put this one, all the ones that I haven't listened to, I'm gonna put at the very bottom of B, behind the rest of the albums in B. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you rank them, if I haven't listened to them, because
Right.
because I want to make it fair. I'm not here saying that they're high B, low B. They're not better or worse than any of these other records that are in the same category as it, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to them, so I have to. I'm following you on this one. I'm gonna put that one in B all the way at the back.
All
Put
right,
that in the
Mike.
list of things to listen to.
You know this one's been coming for a while. Invent
Yeah,
Animate Graveyou.
this is a perfect record.
As good as it
I
gets, if you ask me. There
I
doesn't
it was
even need to be much talk. You
if
could
you
just
look
throw
at
that shit right in the S.
like like I literally I'm gonna put that above Etid too, just because it's a full record.
Mm-hmm.
And like one thing that when it comes to Invent Anime is it's been a while since they put out a record. You know what I mean? Like they had Everchanger in 2014, I believe, and then Still World, which was a phenomenal follow-up to Everchanger
That's the
in
one with the
2016.
trees and it's like purple.
Everchanger's the one that's
Mm.
purple. Yeah. And
Really,
it's
all
so
their albums are
yeah.
really good.
The one thing I have to say about this band is so like in my like later half of my teen years,
Mm.
I loved Gen music. Periphery, um, Sugar, like any of that stuff. I loved.
Yeah.
One thing that I was noticing though with that genre is that there was not a lot of diversity amongst the songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of other bands that were trying to copy the Top Dogs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's a few bands that from this genre over the past couple years that have really stuck out and done things differently that blew me away, and Invent Anime was one of them. It's a new, fresh spin on gent, if you want to call it that. I don't like calling it that, but that's what most people call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very progressive metalcore record that is just as technical as it is catchy and pleasing to listen to.
I know it, dude. I couldn't have said it much better. The pacing on it is just insane. It gives
Not
you
to mention
enough breathing room for you to like let the song's emotion sink in, but
mhm.
enough chaos in the melodies that are just so intense, man. You could
And then
headbang to almost any song in there.
don't even forget that on what track was it? I think it was Shapeshifter. They had Garrett from Silent Planet on that
Oh
song.
yeah,
Like,
that's
come on.
insane.
It makes it even better. Like, it's a beautiful record, a beautiful guest feature. There's not much else I can say about it. And
Pure
it's
love
and
to that record.
yeah, it's pure love. And it's not too long, it's not too short. It is a bit longer for an album, I say. Like 50 minutes is pretty lengthy for an album these days,
Yeah,
but
but
still
all 50 of those minutes are worth listening to.
it's like you're in a trance when you're listening to that record straight through,
All right,
and it's beautiful.
let's pull ahead. Passenger. This album is pretty good. The band is Kingdom of Giants. Did you listen to this one?
Kingdom of Giants was a band that I was kind of into back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not so much though. I think this band is not bad by any stretch at all, but it's just not my thing. I'm not, but and I'm gonna sit in my considering I can't be biased on these things.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'd put
have to
it.
sit it in B, I think.
There's nothing really flashy about it. There's nothing
Hmm.
really that caught my eye. When I was listening through, I like to bookmark my songs. And, like, if I hear something good, something I want to hear again, or something that's great, I'll favorite it. I'll come back to it. I don't think there was a song on there where I was like, all right, you know what? I should really give that a re listen. So for me, I put that in a C. I put it above Code Orange because Code Orange fell off. Uh, a lot of their songs were wishy washy towards the end. Um, but at least with this album from Kingdom of Giants, it was more consistent, and I could appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's steamroll ahead. Landmarks, Lost in the Waves. What did you think of this one?
This is one of the records I did not listen to.
Oh man,
What did you
missing out.
think? Did you
Um,
think you thought it was good?
it wasn't anything crazy.
Hmm.
Um, it was all right. It was definitely worth listening to. I appreciated a lot of songs on there,
Hmm.
and the guy's vocal technique, uh, it spans a wide range. But then again, nothing was really crazy on there. Like,
Yeah.
definitely a good listen, but I'd put that probably above Kingdom of Giants. Um, but definitely not higher than Post-Human Survival.
Okay. See,
Uh,
from the way you're describing it, I know I said I was gonna put more of these uh not listened to records in B,
mm-hmm.
but just by the way you're describing it, it makes me want to lean more towards C. Just because, like, from what it seemed like the only thing that really caught your attention on it was the vocalist.
Yeah, well, she did a phenomenal job. I'll give him
Hmm.
that. He had some crazy cleans, some crazy screams. He really
Yeah,
did it all.
I
But just having one powerhouse in a band, I don't think that pulls you up
Yeah.
to a higher tier.
And another thing is, as I'm looking at these albums we have here, one thing that I hate to say it, but this does apply in
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent, is album art matching the tone of the album itself. Um, and for me, honestly, I'm not really, I hate to say it, but I'm not really a big fan of the album art on this release either. It's kind of I don't know
I
I don't
like
know how
it.
to say. You think yeah. I don't know. I look at some of these records, like some of them that we haven't even seen yet, like we're moving on to like Moss to Flames next, and that album art is phenomenal to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's so much going on in it, but at the same time, it's not too much to take in, you know what I mean?
Well, speaking of like Moss to Flames, this album is No Eternity in Gold. And for me, this album was insane. I think they outdone themselves. Me personally, I do not think it passes Greyview,
Absolutely
but I
not.
think it does match up perfectly to Currents, if not higher. So I am putting it at the top of
So,
A tier.
okay, so you'd put this top of A.
Yeah,
I think
but
I'm with
not
that.
an S.
I think I'm with that. I think I this is a record that I want to be S. You know what I mean?
I think it has the potential,
It has the potential, but
but competing with
it's
some of the other bands in this genre from 2020, I don't know if it could. It might be able to make it.
hmm Yeah, for
I'll have to
me,
reconsider.
one thing with Like Moss to Flames for me is they're a band that I think they change up their sound just the right amount every record.
I 100% agree.
I don't think they don't switch things up like too crazy every record from the previous one,
Hmm.
but they do it like just the right amount where like so far throughout their career, I have not been disappointed with a single album they've put out. Not to mention, like, did you actually listen to their two newest singles they put out? It was like B-sides from this record.
Not yet. I have not.
They are phenomenal.
You think they should have been on the main?
It's one of those things where it's like it makes me think like, wow, why weren't these on the record? But at the same time, I'm not gonna question their reasoning. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
This is a band that's blown me away every album. Not like severely blown me away, but I mean, it's not bad. And
I thought
it's really good.
for a metalcore album, it was all around good, and
Yeah,
I
that
think
I
that's why it deserves the highest in the A category.
couldn't have said it better. I for me, Post-Human Survival is also an A, but this is this is just a record that just like it's one of those things where it's like 9 times out of 10, if you're gonna just show me like a random record and match it up to this one, I like not maybe not 9 times out of 10, but I'm probably gonna like this record more just
Hmm.
because it's just an all around really good metalcore record.
It feels complete.
It's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too generic,
Hmm.
but it's fucking like Moss to Flames. They've never done me wrong so far. You know what I mean?
They have not.
Yeah.
And all their albums, I think you could say almost the same for all of them.
Yeah.
All right, let's push ahead here. This is probably the most talked about album that I'd say that I've been hearing in the genre. People give it super high remarks, and that is Loathe. I let it in and it took everything. Where would you put this?
Okay. So this is coming from someone who does not really like Loathe that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never been big into this band, but whenever I speak to friends who like this band a lot, they have nothing but good things to say about this band. For me, it's just not there. Maybe I just haven't given the record enough chances, but I'm also one of those people that if it doesn't catch my eye immediately listening to it, which is selfish of me, I'm not gonna like it, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few records that have changed my mind on that where I listened to them a few times and I was like, wow, this is really good, which is making me think that I have to listen to this record a few more times. But for me, it just wasn't my thing. But even still, I think this is right behind Like Moss to Flames in A tier, just for the amount of praise it gets, and then not to mention there is one track on this record that I'm very fond of, and it's "Is It Really You?"
Oh yeah,
And
what a song.
I thought that song was fucking beautiful. So this is just with that song alone and the praise that this album gets, I'm gonna put this right behind like Moss to Flames in A tier.
Yeah, when I checked this album out, after knowing all the hype that it got, I came in very skeptical of what it would sound like, and it really came from left field because a lot of their songs are obscure. They're like, uh, it's so hard to explain. Like, it's not what you would typically expect from a metalcore album, but it
Hmm.
had all the elements there, and I think they just did something new and something great with this album, and I would definitely put this up in A. Right, mm, I don't know. It's tough between Currents and Loathe, but I think they sit right next to each other.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's it's just some of the style in those songs, man. It's just insane. The cleans, the tones. Oh my god, the tones in the album are insane.
Hmm.
But let's push ahead. The next one is "Make Them Suffer: How to Survive a Funeral." What do you think about this one?
Okay, so this record, this is a perfect B for me. Um, and the reason I put it, I think this is on my list. I have August Burns Red at the top, Bury
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, and then Akudama. I'd probably put it, or not Akudama, Alpha Wolf. I'm an idiot. That's the song on the Alpha Wolf record.
Yeah.
But I would put it. It's about equal with the Alpha Wolf record for me. There's one song in particular called Bones on this record.
Mm-hmm.
The intro guitar groove is something else, man. Like it is good. I was listening to that and I just couldn't help but bob my head to it. I was like, wow. Like I was never really even like a big Make Them Suffer guy, but this is a good record. It's not bad. It's a really good record, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah. So this is a tough one for me because I feel like I need to reshuffle my board a little bit because now that we got a lot of bands filling up here, I think it "Make Them Suffer" definitely deserves one of the highest in B, and I think "Every Time I Die" actually drops down a peg, just compared to some of these Titan albums that it's up against.
Yeah.
That's me personally. So because I believe that "Bury Tomorrow" probably deserves a higher peg, so I'm putting "Every Time I Die" above "Hollow Front"
Okay.
in the B tier. I think I don't know if these deserve A though. It's very tough.
Yeah, I'm like looking at my list, it's insane how many Bs I have. I have 7 Bs, and it's purely for two of the records in this being records that I haven't listened to, and I'm following your opinion. I'm probably
Mm,
at the end of this list when we have every album on the board, some of these are going to be subject to change for me, I think.
right. I totally understand. Now that we're getting
Hmm.
toward the end, it's getting a lot more tense in the
Yeah,
positions,
and not to mention we have like these last 3 records that we have come
which are all
from
crazy.
they come from great bands.
Right. All
It's
right.
it's
So finishing up my final statement on "Make Them Suffer," I think they definitely deserve a B tier. The album
mhm.
felt very complete. A lot of their songs really do stand out. Um,
Mhm.
Instead of feeling more like an album, it feels like a lot of compiled really good singles, which can help or hurt it.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but like it's one of those things where it's like considering uh I hate to make this a generalization about people, but we have shitty attention spans compared to what we used to have back in the day.
Yeah.
And listening to a full album is not something that a lot of people are mentally capable of anymore, including myself. I personally like short releases. I can't get through a whole album anymore. I like somewhere around 5 to 6 songs, maybe even probably like 8 max, which is why I'm such an After the Burial fan because they have short albums, seven to
Yeah, I
eight
feel
songs
like
every
short
album.
albums is definitely the way that things should start to move.
Yeah,
But I could appreciate longer albums with filler songs just to give you a breather.
that's another reason why to go back on Invent Animate. It's a what, a 13 song record, and I'm able to listen to the whole thing straight through without having to skip anything.
Right, it just keeps your
It
it
just
keeps your
keeps you
attention.
going. Yeah,
All right. So, some of these last bands are crazy. Uh
yeah.
Next one we have is Polaris, The Death of Me. This album was crazy. The singles that they dropped before it, crazy. I followed Polaris ever since I seen them probably 4 years ago at a show, and
This is one of your.
even though even
This
though
is
that
the
they weren't like a headliner band, they felt like another headliner on that tour.
yeah. This goes into your whole Australia graph
Yeah.
that you were speaking of. And for me, I fell off from Polaris a little while ago. It's been a while since I've listened to Polaris, but after listening to this record, it hasn't brought me back. But this is an easy A for me, purely
Yeah.
for this being a band that everybody in the band is a powerhouse.
Mhm.
And not to mention their one guitarist, what's his name, Ryan? That kid is like how old? He's like 21 or 22.
And he's writing these crazy
And
ass licks and riffs.
he is insane. He's one of like the best guitarists in metalcore currently. He is a good guitarist, and I think that's another thing. I really don't think that um this record really let him shine. I think like there's a lot of really cool guitar parts on the
Mhm.
record, but he is much better than what is on this record.
You know what? I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think this definitely deserves a solid A piece because they
Hmm.
do really cover the whole spectrum. They got kind of poppier, catchy songs where it's easy to groove to. They got the deep and emotional ones where they talk about trauma, pain, stuff like that. And
Hmm.
then they just got their heavy ones where you just want to bang your head to and just jump in a mosh pit. And I think they
Yeah.
covered the bases of what a really good album should be. I'm sure they could have done more creative work, as you were saying,
Hmm.
but I definitely put them. I put them right behind Loathe, if you ask me.
I think that's a great spot, honestly. They're a phenomenal band.
All right, so the next one that we have in here is The Ghost Inside, and it is a self-titled, so it is also The Ghost Inside. To me, this felt like a really good redemption that they were going for. Being
Mm,
off touring, being off recording, and recovering from a tragedy.
exactly.
Um, I felt like they definitely delivered. I felt like they took the time to sit down and say, all right, we have so much to convey in these upcoming songs, and we got to do it in a good way. And they really took the time to craft some really good songs. I definitely put them at an A.
Okay, so originally for me, I was gonna put this in C, and it sounds crazy at first because they are an incredible band. They've always been an incredible band.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and it's not even their fault. Like you said, they've been through so much in the past few years that I kind of put them to a higher standard than what I should have. I shouldn't have put any standard on them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I should have just let them do their thing. For me, it just doesn't compete with the records that they've had before this.
Yeah, you know what?
It's for me like I'm changing my stance just because I'm acting very selfish with this. It is not a bad record. It's not what I wanted, but it's not up to me what the record is supposed to sound like. It's up to them. They're the ones writing it. So I think I'm gonna follow with you and put this in A just for your
Really?
description of it. And the I'm gonna put this at the bottom of my A.
I was actually just looking at some of the other bands.
Hmm.
like A Quiet Place to Die, you know, and other
Hmm.
bands in that list with Make Them Suffer there, Bury Tomorrow. I feel like it, you know what? Maybe it's not an A, but I feel like it could be
It
the
could be like
highest B.
the highest B. Okay, I think I'm gonna follow you on that.
Yeah.
And like I think like it's just a shame for me, like because this band back in the day, I'm sounding like an old head. Back in the day, it's only been a couple years,
Right.
but back in the day, like this band was like on another level, kinda.
Oh yeah.
It was like they played their guitars were in the same tunings as every other band, and their vocals weren't very uh different from everybody else, but man, was everybody in this band powerful, and they still are.
Oh yeah.
Like they're all powerhouses at what they do. Like not a single member of this band is lacking in their instrument. They are
Mhm.
all extremely good at what they do.
Yeah, and I think they really took the time to make something beautiful, which is why I put it high B.
Hmm.
Um, I don't feel like they have a limiter on there. I'm not really sure what they could do, in my opinion, to make it up to an A or an S. Because their songs really do have a lot of emotion in them.
Hmm.
But then again, I feel like the Ghost Inside is the Ghost Inside. You know,
Yeah,
they are what
exactly.
they are, and they do it good. So that's why I'd put them at a B.
Hmm.
And the last one on the list originally wasn't on the list, but made its way in because of you. Where would you put Reflections Willow at?
Okay, so this is a band that I've been following since 2014, I'd say. I got into them right before they put out my favorite record of theirs, The Color Clear, um, which is still like top three, I'd even say, records for me of all time. I
Yeah.
think this is an incredible follow-up to The Color Clear. Is it as good? No. But it's been an entire 5 years since they put out The Color Clear that this record ended up coming out after.
Mhm.
Um, this record for me is gonna go right behind Invent Animate at S tier.
Oh
This
wow.
was this is a record that if you want something that is going to throw you against the wall and make you feel like you just got knocked out, this is the
Mhm.
record you're gonna listen to because everybody in this band, I should say, is a
Mhm.
shredder. They are all phenomenal musicians. Their vocals are piercing. The guitar work is tuned so low, and the solos are fucking magnificent. Any leads on the record are magnificent, and the drums are just so spastic. And not to mention, they tune very low. Their guitars, their bass is explosive. This band is incapable, in my eyes, of putting out something that is so bad. I think that sure they might put out stuff that's not pleasing to me eventually. I mean, most bands do that. There's not a lot of bands you really stick with forever.
Mhm.
This band could never put out a bad song. It could be a song that I'm not fond of, but I'm still gonna think the song is good, whether or not I listen to it.
Yeah. Uh, that is very convincing, but you know what? I have not listened to this just yet, which probably pains to hear it. So I
It
am
pains me
putting
very
it
much.
in my unlistened category.
Yeah, and I think so another thing I could add to this record is this is the first time they've ever had a song break 1 million streams on Spotify.
Oh shit.
And it was their first single from the record From Nothing.
They're getting that clout.
And one thing and you know what's funny is they've kind of had it, but this record put them even further, which I wish The Color Clear did for them because that's my favorite record, but like going through the track list on this record, like I'm looking at this record right now.
Mhm.
I look at some of the songs like From Nothing, Samsara, Seven Stages, Help, Ghost. Like these are all songs that like it's all songs on the record are they sound like they're singles for the record, but they blend so well together that it feels like a record when you're listening to it.
That's crazy.
It's a really good listen if you're into another like it's got a bit of a joke genre, but if you like Thal, if you're into bands like Viljarda or Humanity's Last Breath, you're gonna love this record.
Hmm.
This is a banger record.
That's cool. I gotta listen to it soon. Probably
Yeah,
after this video, I'll listen to it.
you do. Like this is I'm not even joking. Right after this video is over, listen to that record. It's phenomenal.
All right, so that was the last band in the list. Um, Here's a side-by-side comparison of me and Mike's tier list. Hey, what is up, guys? Thanks for checking out our tier list of the best metalcore albums of 2020. If you got any recommendations for 2019, please put a comment in the comments below, because me and Mike plan on making this a bi-monthly or monthly series, so I hope to catch you guys in the next video.